Hey, what's up? Dave with Brazos Valley Strength. Today I wanted to make a quick video on a conversation that I have with many of my athletes, maybe more often than anybody would really like, but that is how to deal with setbacks. So to start things off, I wanted to maybe talk about the range in what people actually consider setbacks in the first place. It can be something incredibly small. It can be something like one bad session. They go in, they don't have the day they were anticipating. Or even they're going after a big PR attempt. They're having a very good session and they don't get it. Or ranging all the way over to they have some sort of injury that sets them out days, weeks, months. All of these things I think are probably pretty similar in the way that we feel about them emotionally. And I think we can do some things to hopefully prepare for those circumstances to where we can better control the outcome or really just how we respond and not let those negative instances turn into much bigger, more profound negativity in our training. So what I wanted to say to start things off with is that both of those things and our emotional reaction to those things is very real, right? We have a negative response to bad days or bigger injuries or whatever because we care, right? Absolutely, every single one of us care about this. If you care enough to even sit down and watch this video about it, you care about your training. So I think that the biggest thing is that we don't want to be dismissive of the way that people have these emotions, but we can take charge and understand that this whole training process is going to be a lot bigger and longer than anybody really appreciates in the moment. So that's the first and biggest point, is that somebody's training career, and I'm going to say career just talking about their training process, as long as they're lifting weights, competing, whatever, that's their career, whether they're a pro or not. But the process of them lifting is so much longer than anybody really thinks. And I think in the moment, in the short term, we all have goals. We all feel like this current block that we're doing, or at least this current meet that we have planned, is the biggest one of our lives. That's probably true. It's probably the biggest one that we've ever done up until this point. But there's going to be a next one. Unless you come into the sport thinking, I'm going to be lifting for 1 year, I'm going to try to get everything I can out of this in one single year, and then I'm done with it, you probably have a whole lot longer to improve than you really think you do. At this point, I'm 30 years old. I've been lifting for 15 years or something like that. No one session, no one block, even 1 year at this point is going to make a major impact on my long-term success. I've had pretty bad injuries. I've had injuries that have set me back for multiple months, some that have been pretty short. But over that time, I've gotten significantly better at being able to manage the process in the short term. So I don't want to talk today about specifics. I don't want to talk about what you should do. You shouldn't do X rep range to get back or anything like that. I just wanted to talk about the mental aspect, the way that we can approach these sessions when we're injured or when we just have a bad session, and how we can respond mentally in order to move on and be able to continue the positive process in our training. And I think one of the first and biggest things is to accept that you are not unique in the process of suffering or just having this negativity in your life. And I use the stronger word of suffering because people a lot of times do have this one setback and think, why me? All I see around me is people having really, really good sessions. And that's exactly the point. When we're looking at people on YouTube, on Instagram, whatever, when we're watching these big competitions, we are absolutely seeing a highlight reel from people's training. I post these YouTube videos. The last one I posted was I can't stop PRing, and I was talking about how successful my training had been. I don't post YouTube videos saying, wow, that block was incredibly mediocre, right? And the same thing happens on my Instagram feed. I'm pretty much only posting my highlight reel. There are many, many sessions in there that I actively don't post or immediately delete the videos after the sessions because they just were not really what I wanted them to be. But that is the process. Of all the training that we do, the vast majority of our days are going to be very, very average. There's going to be some good days, there's going to be some bad days in there, but the process needs to be that we continue to move forward. So I totally get it. I totally get that in the moment, when we're in whatever bad area that we are perceiving at the moment, just a string of bad sessions, an injury, whatever, and we're watching people around us continue to improve, of course we're seeing the best. We're seeing the highlight reel. We didn't see the struggle that they went through to get there in the first place and the negativity that was there. All we see is the excitement. And we see in that moment that we're not feeling that same thing. So of course, it does feel really bad. But more often than not, when lifters are able to take a step back and kind of have some perspective and treat the moment that they're in as the immediate challenge, rather than saying, well, I was strong 2 months ago, I just need to hit those numbers again. I need to hit X number on my squat and I'll feel good again. I'll be able to bring it all back. And it just doesn't happen. I have a video talking about training momentum. And essentially I'm saying the same thing there, is that we do not create positivity in our training by forcing it. We create positivity in our training by essentially living in the moment. If I'm hurt right now, that is my new biggest training objective, is to create every opportunity in every session that I approach to be able to get a little bit better, right? So if it's an injury, I may be having to do some lighter training, some rehab drills, body weight squats. But if I leave that session feeling like I did what I could to take a step in the right direction, whether that means actually squatting my big goal of 500 pounds or whatever it is, or just saying, my body weight squats feel a little bit better. I think I did what I could today. Those are the active steps that we can move in the right direction. And I think just having an understanding that everything that we do is such a small timeline on our ultimate objective. So ultimately, it really just comes down to accepting that a lot of these things are out of our control. We may be doing absolutely everything that we can in order to be successful. We're moving appropriately, we're warming up, all of our technique is good, and for some reason, I still have that knee pain, or whatever it is. Some of these things we just cannot control. In the total timeline of how our training is actually going to, our career is going to show itself, right? From my first year of lifting to wherever I am now, to where I'll be 5 years from now, there were always going to be injuries, whether it's some sort of, luck or predestination or whatever. Nobody gets through it unscathed. And I think even the top people, off the top of my head, I can think of 2 guys, Ashton Ruska and Taylor Atwood. Both of those guys in the last few years, I know for a fact, have had back injuries that have really impacted their training. And they're still literally the best lifters there are. Like they're impossible to beat. And those guys, I doubt, viewed those situations as setbacks. It's part of the process. So whether your setback is just a small bad day, whether it's a big injury, it's all part of your process. In your long road, your 15-year, 20-year powerlifting career, there's always going to be ups and downs on that road. And as soon as you accept that having some of those bad negative sessions were always going to be there all along, and instead of, feeling sorry for yourself that you're in one of those slumps, if you take control of it and you make that your new challenge to overcome and get back as fast as you can, rather than forcing things and making the right decision in the moment, you'll end up back way faster than you ever really thought you could. So the biggest takeaway here should be that you have to make right decisions for the moment and not look at other people's success as a barrier to your own, as something that just because they're having success right now, they're in a totally different circumstance than you. So anyway, hopefully that video is helpful. It's something that I talk to my lifters about all the time, and I wanted to share it publicly. Maybe there's some of my lifters who will watch this that I haven't luckily had to have this conversation with them yet, but it'll obviously come. Everyone at some point will deal with some sort of setback, some sort of negativity, but I think that the best lifters don't view those times as actual setbacks, and they just view them as part of the process all along. So if you did like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.